All right, everybody. Welcome back to another bourbon show. This week we've got a new round, so something we've never drank before. It's from a company we've never drank before. A company that is not actually very well known for their whiskey or bourbon, and we all three have pretty small bottles of it. We're going to be drinking this little guy right here. We're going to be drinking some Bulleit Bourbon. Bulleit Bourbon is 90 proof. It's owned by Diageo, and that's why I mentioned that they are not known for their bourbon. We don't know. So Bulleit is sourced. We know that for 100%. Bulleit is sourced. We do not know. It is not confirmed what company they source from. I know that it's 4 different companies that they source from, but it is if you do some Google searching, you'll find out who the suspected companies they source from are. I just don't care. That's the reason I don't look into it. It's 90 proof. Mash bill is 68% corn, 28% rye, and 4% malted barley. If you don't know much about Bulleit Bourbon, this episode is going to focus specifically on the taste and the flavor of Bulleit. I don't give a damn about the fake story of their founder that was completely made up. I don't care about that. If you want to hear about that, if you want to read about that, then feel free. It's everywhere on the internet. I don't give a shit about any of that. All I care about is the flavor and the taste of Bulleit Bourbon. That's my 2 cents. Ryan, you probably know kind of what I'm talking. Diageo is one of your companies, right?
Yeah, I don't sell it personally, but they are aligned with our company.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I see a lot of their stuff. Diageo's biggest product is probably Smirnoff vodka, but they also own Bailey's, Kettle One, Crown Royal, Tanqueray. I mean, they have a bunch of the heavy hitters.
Yeah, just not many bourbon.
Yeah, yep. George Dickel. I know it's like Tennessee whiskey, but yeah, I think their only bourbon that they have in their portfolio. I could be wrong, but
also do they own Seagram's?
Seagram's is, so I sell Seagram's vodka. Our competitors has like Seagram's gin.
Okay.
We also sell Seagram's VO, which was bought, I believe, by Sazerac, but they still own the Seagram 7 whiskey. So Seagram's is weird. It's literally with every single company based on what juice it is.
That's so weird to me. So weird. Okay, so that's what we're gonna be drinking tonight, and I bought mine. I bought my 2 little bottles at Dean's in Collinsville. I think they were $1.99 each. I bought 2 of them. So that's where I got mine. Steven, you're drinking 50 little airplane bottles too, right?
Yep. I got mine. I can't remember how much it was, but I got it at Royals over by me.
Okay.
And I grabbed it because it was something we haven't drank so far, and this used to actually be one of my go-tos back in the day. So I wanted to bring it back and check it out now that I've had a lot more whiskey. See how if it was as good as I remembered it.
Cool. And Ryan, you got the 375, right?
Yep, $18.99 at Binny's.
Okay. All right.
Binny's of Mokina, Illinois.
Now, Binny's, the closest Binny's to me is Springfield, Illinois. And I keep wanting to make a trip up there because I heard that in Illinois, Binny's has got like Smoke Wagon on lock. Like they are the store that gets lots of Smoke Wagon. And if you're an Illinois listener, it was just announced last night from Smoke Wagon that uncut, unfiltered batch number 40 is on its way to Illinois. So if you're an Illinois listener, by the time this comes out, you should be seeing Smoke Wagon in stores, some uncut, unfiltered in stores. But tonight's not about Smoke Wagon. It's about Bulleit. So what do you say, guys? Do we want to...
Well, Jesus, we're bearing the lead here. Can I give the bottle review? Can I give a label review?
Oh, God. I was hoping you'd forget. Ryan, why don't you show your bottle? Because yours is more similar to
It is the
Actual.
same exact one, but
Yeah,
it's smaller.
Yeah,
Steven,
so-
it might be better for you to actually Google because I mean you could see
I
Bulleit
can-
there.
No, I can see it. Yeah, it looks good.
If we were looking at that on Stevens, we wouldn't see shit because his
Well,
webcam's from 1984. But
I bought before this episode started. I bought a new webcam. Okay, out of my own pocket. So first of all, second of all, let's get back to this bottle.
all right.
Ryan, God forbid. Let's see it. All right, thank you. So I think that this is a great looking bottle overall. This is one of those that it's kind of tough to judge when you're talking about the label. The label itself, I don't like, especially love. It's kind of a busy label. There's nothing all that special about it to me, but it all fits in really well. I think it has that nice like medicinal look to it. When you see it on the shelf, I think that I always appreciate whenever like they get a bottle that has the text on the glass. That always looks good to me. So I appreciate all that effort. That said, the label is nothing all that especially exciting, but it fits in with the aesthetic. I do like that the rye is green. You can easily tell which one you're dealing with right away. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's especially bad. I think it fits the label, and so I'm not going to dock it any points. It's at least clear what it is. It gets the job done. That's why I always like the whiskey. So 6 out of 10. Now you can continue, Dan.
Your ratings are so fucked. So fucked. You give this a 6, and some of the shit you've given 4s to. All right, do we want to get to the business?
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I mean, the business was my label review, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it tastes just like I remember it. It's so Stephen and I were talking a little bit ago before we started recording. And I mentioned that I don't think I've ever in my life bought a bottle of Bulleit bourbon. And I'm not going to go out to the store and I'm not going to buy one now. Not because it's bad, but because it's not like overly special. However, whenever I go to like a restaurant or a bar, if it's not specifically a whiskey bar, there's a chance that this is as good of a whiskey as they've got. And I've never been disappointed and said, man, I got to drink Bulleit again. No, I look at their list, and if Bulleit's the best that they've got, I say, well, give me a Bulleit neat, right? Like, because it's good stuff. It's just not overly special. So it's not gonna take up shelf space at my house. That's my feelings on it. And Steven, is that pretty much where you thought I was gonna go before we started recording?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think that again, early on, it was one of my go-tos, and I think that I like the rye a little bit more than this. But I would typically, whenever I was, early on when I hadn't had much whiskey, it would either usually be Buffalo Trace or Bulleit Rye, and then sometimes the Bulleit Bourbon that we're drinking tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like my regular rotation because I could always get it for cheap, and I'd had it before at a bar. Like you're talking about, it's available just about everywhere, and it's really nice to have that sort of go-to that you go with whenever, especially if you want a cocktail in a bar or something like that, and they're asking you what whiskey you want. Maybe you're there with a bunch of friends, and you don't even want to go through the spiel where you're like, "What whiskey do you have?" You don't want to. And then if it's kind of like a beer place, and then they're not going to know, or they're going to like fumble, and they're not going to be able to remember, like the waiter or waitress, just go with the Bulleit Bourbon. You know it's going to be there, and it's going to give you this nice consistent taste every time, basically. So that's why I kind of like fell into it. Obviously, I've had a lot of stuff since then, and it doesn't have the same high regard that maybe I had it then. But I didn't think this was top shelf back then either.
Yeah. You know what I just thought of? Bulleit bourbon is kind of like the Applebees of bourbon, right? Like if you go someplace and you're in a town and you're like, oh my God, everywhere I look are all of these family-owned restaurants, and then there's an Applebees. And you're like, I don't know if necessarily want to take a chance with someplace I've never heard of. Do I love Applebees? Oh God, no. But when I walk into Applebees, I know exactly what to expect. I know I can trust it, and I'm not going to be mad when I leave. You know what I like? That's Bulleit Bourbon, I think.
And if you walk into an Applebee's and you see salmon on the menu, it's kind of the same as like Diageo has bourbon, you know?
Exactly.
I do love Applebee's though, man. Their alcohol prices are out of this world now. Have you gone in there and gotten drunk? Because me and my buddies all did last year in suits.
No,
We do a President's Day bar crawl every year. And we all wore suits and we only went to chain restaurants. So we started at Applebee's. There's like 6 or 7 of us, and our tab was like $85. And we're like, that's it. So we drank a shit ton, we ate, and it was $85 between like 6 people. And then we went to Texas Roadhouse. And that was fun too. But
yeah, I mean, no, but I think that it's a fair analogy, right? Like, yeah, nobody's just like, oh man, I really, really, really want to go to Applebee's tonight. But if you're like meeting up with buddies and they're like, hey, let's meet at Applebee's, you're not like, oh God, no. You know, like you're like, oh yeah, I'll meet you at Applebee's. I'll get a burger or I don't know. Oh, the baby back ribs, right? You gotta have the
that's Chili's.
Is it?
Yeah, Chili's, baby back ribs, barbecue sauce.
Okay. Now we're gonna get copyright strikes because Ryan perfectly poised to mend it just now. No, I think that it's a good comparison, Dan. And I'll say that, like, you know, what you're talking about when if you're like in another town and you're like, do I really want to take a chance at that, or do I want to just go with the safe route? I think that Bulleit is safe just because it has a lot of the stuff that people are looking for when they just think of bourbon.
Oh, for sure.
Whenever you just grab this off the shelf, you know, now there's some qualities to it. I'm not saying it's the only thing on the shelf that has these qualities in this price point, but it is for, you know, like I don't know, it's like $22 price range or something like that. I would frequently find it at. You have this bourbon that has like a pretty good nose, pretty good palate, and a really long finish. So if that's something that you like, you know, again, it's not the only thing that price range that has it maybe, but it's just it's a consistent quality. And if that's what you like, I definitely see this being a lot of people's, you know, their home well or something.
Well, and I know that there's a lot of people who are huge fans of Bulleit, right? Like they've got a 10-year out that right now that I see people just absolutely raving over, like talking about how now supposedly that 10-year is sourced from Four Roses, supposedly. And I'm not going to get into the other suspicions as far as their sourcing goes, but Four Roses is a phenomenal distillery. And it makes sense that if Bulleit is sourcing their 10-year out of Four Roses, that people are going to go ape shit over it. But yeah, no, Bulleit it's good stuff. Like you said, like, well, what flavors are you getting, Steven? Like you named off a couple of them.
Well, so on the nose and the palate, I get some cherry, for sure. And then I think I get, it's a lot of like stone fruits and stuff like that, like cherry for the most part, honestly. And then even maybe a little bit of licorice too.
Okay. Yeah.
I definitely get a lot of orange off the nose.
See, I get orange, and then like, of course, I get the vanilla and the caramel.
Little peanut on the nose too to me.
Oh, see, I don't get any peanut, but I mean, I just don't pick that up. But I pick up some like a smokiness and a little bit of oak, and like we haven't had very many like oaky bourbons on the show. Eagle Rare is probably the oakiest of the whiskeys and bourbons we've drank on the show. But I do get quite a bit of oak on the nose from this. Ryan, anything other than the orange you pick up?
I definitely get some cherry too, like Steven was saying. I definitely get that. I kind of get a little pepperiness to it too. A little spice. It's probably that high rye level, but yeah, I mean, I haven't had this bourbon in forever, so it's better than what I remembered, or it's better than what I thought it was going to be. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't pay $30 for a 750 for it. Right. I paid $20 for 375. I think it should be closer to the $20-$25 range. But that's just me.
And that's
when Woodford,
yeah.
Like you see like Woodford being the closest comparison to this, like in the price range, like Woodford, Jack Daniels, Brown Forman, they definitely saw how well Bulleit was doing, so they made a strategic point to get their bottles right next to Bulleit Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
It usually helped them,
Oh, did it?
but yeah, they're kind of both of them though. They're kind of a pain to merchandise. Put them on the shelf; they're always falling off the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the right up there with Wild Turkey 101 for one of my favorite mixers. If you're just getting something for cocktails, at least in that price range, it's very easy to get. I think it's very good to throw in pretty much whatever you want to put it in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the one thing I'll say is that like all of the flavor, like this is not a whiskey that it's hard to pick up the flavors. On the nose, a little bit, but like to me, the flavors are easy to pick out. It's not complex in any way, shape, or form. I mean, maybe it's different for you guys, but I get like right off the bat a sweet caramel, followed by a very peppery oak, followed by more pepper, and then oak, and then a little bit of caramel on the end again. Like it for me, that's just every taste. That's what I get. Maybe you guys differ.
No, I agree. Although
It's
I
pretty
get,
similar,
like
yeah.
I said, I get a lot of cherry and stone fruit, just like hints
From the
in
taste
there.
too?
Yeah, from the taste too.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
much lighter than all the notes you talked about, but they're there throughout for me.
Yeah.
On the nose, I feel like it's definitely a little more fruity than when you actually taste it.
Same. I get way more fruit on the nose than certainly during the palate and also during the finish though. But what I'm saying though is, Steven, that's the reason why I think it's a really good bourbon to use as a mixer, is because like it's like you said earlier, it's got all of those aspects that people are looking for. If you want sweet, it's got some sweet. If you want spice, it's got some spice. If you want oak, it's got that too. But again, just not a very complex drink. So yeah, you could probably do like a whiskey sour and like go ahead and use your sour mix, but then just like add a little bit of a Gold Rush syrup with the honey and the water. That would probably go really nicely together.
Yeah.
And then you would have a nice cold remedy right there.
3 or 4 of those. I should have
What's
drank
that?
that when I had COVID. Should have had that when I had COVID.
Man, I think I already mentioned it whenever Matt was on the show, but if anybody should have had a really fucked up case of COVID, it's you, man. Like I told you not to die, but part of me was just like, get real sick, right?
Yeah. You know, definitely one of the easier sicknesses to beat for sure, at least from my perspective.
For you.
Yeah.
The other 400,000 Americans, not so much, but whatever.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, one of the easier ones.
Don't eat so much. You know, skinny like me, you'll be fine.
One of the easier things for me to overcome is just like stools.
Yeah, you're gonna shit yourself again today, right?
No, I shit before we started.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully not. That was a code red. That was a close call.
Dude, that was funny.
How close was it?
Oh, yeah. Very close. Because I farted and I definitely felt it about to come out of my butt.
Man, that's a shame. If you would have actually shit yourself on cam, that would have been. That's what we need to propel us into the limelight.
Take one for the team, Ryan. Jesus.
It was close, man. I almost had to use the sink downstairs here.
Oh shit. Hey, so Ryan, there was big news in the whiskey world, and I want to know if today, listeners, we're talking about January 25th. I want to know if this is going to affect you or not. And Ryan, you may not have heard about it yet, but
yeah, I don't know if I have.
So MGP bought Luxco.
Really?
Yeah. So they're calling it a merger, but it's in no way, shape, or form it's a merger. It is completely a buyout. So MGP now has the rights to Blood Oath, Rebel Yell, Yellowstone, Minor Case, Ezra Brooks, and a bunch of other stuff.
St. Brendan's Irish Cream.
Probably, I guess. I don't know.
Everclear? Yeah, I'm looking at
Yeah,
their-
no, they would have so they would have Everclear, they would have oh shit. All of those
the Exotico Pearl,
yeah, Pearl vodka, there you go. I was just focused on the
wow,
the
on
bourbons
whiskeys.
that I knew off the top of my head that they'd be taking over.
Yeah.
Is that going to affect you at all?
Unless they, pick up the business and take it to another supplier.
Is MGP with you now?
I don't believe so. I mean, do they have anything on the market that is owned by them?
Yeah.
Like what?
Remus, Redemption, Rossville.
A lot of those, I think that's with one of the smaller suppliers or distributors here in Illinois, at least on the north side of the state. I didn't know they had Redemption. I know they keep changing that bottle every few years, it seems like.
Yeah.
I know it used to be a bottle that kind of looked like Bulleit, actually. And
It still is. It's a little bit wider and a little bit shorter.
Okay, maybe I was thinking the one before they changed it to that one.
Probably.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, we have Luxco, and they have a lot of brands, so I would imagine they'll probably stay with us.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, it made pretty big news, like in the whiskey world all over, but especially in the St. Louis area because Luxco is a St. Louis company. Their headquarters is in St. Louis, so
yeah.
It's unlikely that anything is going to change as far as like structure goes. MGP is not going to suddenly start telling Ezra Brooks people how to, distill their liquor.
I mean, they could.
they could, but it's unlikely. That's not very common, like from what I've seen, at least. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But
well, it's interesting. I didn't see that. No email. I always love Rebel Yell. They always had good incentives.
You see
Rebel
where
Yell's-
this guy's. You see where this guy's allegiance lies. Everybody, do not believe his ratings.
The highest rating I've ever given is something I don't sell.
Okay, here we go.
That's true. That is a good point.
It's almost like it's a really good cover for him to be able to throw out there anytime he was threatened. You just throw one to throw the scent off the trail.
So you're talking about the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel?
Yeah.
Was that your highest ever?
Yeah, 9.1.
Okay. I don't remember.
Or 9.2 or something like that.
I mean, it was off the charts. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a good bottle. I mean, I drank it in 3 days.
Damn. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So listeners, we had a big moment this week when we realized that, like, okay, so one of the biggest challenges to this podcast is actually figuring out what the fuck we're gonna drink, right? Like, if we were all three together, it would be much, much easier. But because Ryan is up in Chicagoland, it throws a monkey wrench in there, and we realized that, hey, we could probably ship some stuff to Ryan. And so we're not the smartest people. Okay. Let's just be honest here. We're not the smartest. It took us a long time to figure that out. But yeah, it's going to open up our doors for drinking some pretty phenomenal stuff and making things a lot easier. So I'm going to start shipping Ryan some vials.
The week after this, we're drinking Jim Beam Black, and they're like, "What the fuck was Dan talking about?"
Dan's lost his fucking mind.
We have some pretty interesting bottles on here.
Boom, Four Roses. Boom, boom, fighting cock, blind tasting.
Just give us a month or two.
A month and a half from now, we'll be drinking some really interesting stuff. Well, I guess we can go ahead and do our Dustin Diamond update. Folks, look, things are not looking good for Dustin. We're still in the same boat. We do know that it is now, like last week, we only knew that it was a mysterious disease. Now we know it is stage 4 cancer, specifically carcinoma, I think, some sort of a lung cancer. But we don't know We don't know what the cause is. He was
Moldy
never
hotels.
Wow. That's probably what that's got to be it. It's got to be moldy. Fucking La Quinta. La Quinta Inn, you motherfuckers. You are taking down Dustin. That's Screech.
Greatest actor of our generation.
Clearly.
Can you scroll down on this article, Dan? I remember there being right there.
That's
That's a great photograph.
So yeah, he's Carson. Yeah, it's carcinoma. Normally it's caused by smoking. He's never been a smoker. So it's probably La Quinta's fault, or Motel 6, or one of those sons of bitches.
Or all these clubs that allow smoking, I mean, I feel like every time he came through Missouri, he was probably spending his time in clubs that were smoke friendly.
Yeah.
And all that stuff adds up over time.
Exactly. I mean, he was there 5 days a week, typically. There'd be like one show on Thursday, 2 or 3 on Friday, 3 for sure on Saturday, maybe a Sunday show. Yeah. So, but our thoughts are with good old Dustin. Thoughts are with Screech. Things aren't looking good for him. And, best of luck to you, Screech. We're pulling for you.
And we would like you to get better and come on the show. And I mean, I would love for Dustin to make a full recovery, obviously, but then come on the show. And I want him to start his campaign against these dirty hotels on our podcast. So this is an open invitation. Once you're feeling better, Dustin, we'd love to have you on, and we would love to be standing beside you on the front lines in battle against these hotels that need to go down.
These sons of bitches. Yep. This is you know what this is, Steven, Ryan? This is a call to action. We have to take a stand, and we've got to do it for Dustin. We got to do it for Screech.
Hashtag do it for
Dustin. Fund me. We got to go fund me. We'll just convert it.
Is that thing still alive? I can't remember. I haven't done anything with it because your mom, she donated the $5, right? And I want to make sure that like it goes back to her. Like, and the best way for me to make sure it goes back to her is for me to just let it die off,
What if we converted it into a fund for his treatments?
I mean, are we going to get you? Do you think that would get donations?
I don't know. I feel like maybe it would get donations, and then we would have to get in contact with his representation in order to give him those funds, and they'd
say, "Are you the guy that sent Dustin a picture of your taint?"
Listen, this is how you grease the wheels, okay?
I say we just pocket the money. Good press for us, right?
Well, I think there goes the good press if you pocket the money.
Yeah.
Also, if this gets back to Mario Lopez, he's never going to be on the show. Okay.
Oh God. So okay, what do you say we go ahead and rate some Bulleit Bourbon?
Let's do it.
Ready to go, Ryan? What do you got?
I could see it great in a Manhattan or an old fashioned. Gets the job done. It's like Applebees or Chili's or Texas Roadhouse. You go, you have some of the
This is not to Texas. This is not to Texas Roadhouse levels. Come on now.
I mean, Texas, it's not like they're like the best.
No, but they make a goddamn good steak.
Texas Roadhouse does?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I just eat the rolls.
Have a steak sometime. Have a steak there. I will tell you, if you go to Texas Roadhouse, do not spring for like the ribeye, or just get a sirloin. Their ribeyes are shit. Their sirloins though, that's a good. They've got a good sirloin. That's for sure. Okay, so
and those icy mugs for the beer.
Yeah,
32-ounce drafts. Those are pretty nice.
Yeah, you know what you could order while you're there? A Bulleit Bourbon.
Oh, do they have it?
I'm sure they do. I mean, this is a frontier whiskey.
And that'll go down real nicely with your sirloin as well.
Yeah.
Or ribeye.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, so it's the Applebees or the Chili's, and we get it. Yeah.
Yeah. 6.5.
Gets
6'5"?
the
job done. Yeah, 6'5".
Yeah. Okay.
I like it. I like it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
If it says anything.
What about you,
The
Steven?
bottle's just okay. I don't know.
It's not a 6.0. I'll tell you that.
No.
Steven?
Okay. I think it is a 6.0. I think if you rewind this episode a little bit, you'd see it is a 6.0. Okay. But anyway, that aside, before I was rudely interrupted, if I'm sitting down at a Texas Roadhouse, I'm having my bloomin' onion, and I'm ordering one of these guys, I'm ordering it because it's a 6.1.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost the same as its label.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit better. And I think I give it just a little bit of an edge over just like a Jim Beam white label type thing. I give it a little extra headway because I've always valued in my scale versatility, being able to use it in a couple different drinks, things like that. And I do think it's a step above in terms of just the average whiskey you might pick up, that it goes so well. Part of that for me is the long finish, because I like when I make an old fashioned or something like that, I like knowing that I have whiskey in there. I don't like it being completely lost. And I think an elongated finish is a way to preserve that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the reason why I prop it up a little bit more maybe. But yeah, so 6.1, it's pretty much exactly what I remember. Although I will say that since I've had more whiskey, it's fallen a little bit, but it's good stuff.
Yeah. I think 6.1's fair. 6.5 is fair. I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to go 6.3. Yeah, for all of the reasons you both mentioned, it's perfectly acceptable. It's not something that I will ever get excited about, but it's also nothing I will ever be disappointed about. It's perfectly sufficient.
Another brother show.
It's a severe thing, Unlike
No,
COVID,
I know it is. I'm aware.
It's a real thing here.
I'm aware that it is.
Dan, one time Ryan and I were at a Hooters, and we were with Ryan's dad, and
It's a great story.
Ryan's dad just kept telling him to get this one like Chesapeake Bay rub, like these wings. And then Ryan's like, well, I don't know. That's the same thing they use in their shellfish. It doesn't have like actual shellfish in it. And Ryan's dad's like, I don't know, just get it, try it. You're gonna like it. And he goes, Dad, if we're wrong about it, I could die here. And his dad's just like, just get it, try it. I think you'll really like it. He's like, I might like it, but it might kill me. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. He gave me a piece of chicken with shrimp glaze on it at a wedding when I was like 15 or 16. And I already had a cold. So I remember I had cough drops. The wedding was in the same, conference center of a hotel. So I'm like, oh shit, my throat's bothering me. So I go to the room to get my cough drops, and I come back and I guess my lip is like giant. And my dad's like, oh yeah, just found out there was shrimp glaze on that. Probably shouldn't have had you go to the room alone, but yeah, I told them they called an ambulance for you. I was like, oh great.
He didn't call the ambulance for you. Somebody else did.
Yeah.
They're like, well, liability. We got to call the insurance. And I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. I missed the whole wedding.
God, that's
and
funny.
he's like, you grew out of that allergy. I'm like, I don't think I did, Dad. Like,